It's me again. Hi, guys. You know what that means, right? It's time for the next series of the Randy's Collection series on the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Ha ha! Episodes galore. We're back. Well, today somebody wants to talk about dark ride stuff, monsters and things like that. You know, we all went on dark rides. Well, most people did. Some kids were scared to death of them, but I always liked them. It's funny, when I was little, they were fun houses. They weren't necessarily there to scare the life out of you. Later, they became haunted houses or spook houses, dark rides. But in the beginning, they were fun houses because they were supposed to be fun. So they had, you know, fun things, weird stuff. You would see, you know, everybody knows about the Laughing Sal. It was a fat mannequin, and she would gyrate and she would laugh. It was a fat lady laughing because it was a fun house. And you had floors that slid and stairs that moved, and you were kind of walking through this stuff and you were just kind of laughing. So once in a while, something would be behind a glass window, and it would, you know, you'd walk by and you'd step on the floor, and there'd be a switch in the floor, and it would activate a light sensor that would turn on in a chamber behind a glass window or behind some chicken wire or a screen. Usually it would be a sound like a buzzer to go along with it to get your attention. You'd see some kind of grotesque, you know, figurine in there, kind of, you know, and in the dark would just suddenly come out and it would scare you. But it really was innocent fun. It really was. I mean, I always loved going through the dark houses and the fun houses. They had walkthroughs and they had ride-throughs. And I always liked the ride-through. I was partial to it because it was more of a controlled experience. When you went through with the cars and the track, it was set up in such a way that they knew where the car was going to be and where you were going to be looking in the experience. When you're going through the dark, a lot of times you would have people who would hang back and they would not be walking ahead. They'd be waiting and lurking, and then you'd be coming along and you'd have some kids that were older all of a sudden jump out and scare you. Ah! And they'd scare you on the thing. And it really would scare you. So, I mean, particularly when you're a little kid. And there was always this wonderful aroma when you went through these rides. And in the dark rides, it was kind of an aroma of musty and carbon, because they were usually 110 volt systems, and just like the bumper cars you used to see years ago where the sparks would fly as the pole would scrape the top and you'd get in the electric, you'd see the sparks flying. It didn't make great connection. The track also carried 110, and it had a little wiper that went against the rail, so as the car is going along, the wiper would get its electricity. Well, it didn't always make the best connection, and sparks would fly, and the oils and the carbon would spark. I mean, you wonder why some of these burn down? Well, I mean, it could be a clue with the sparks flying by the grease of the wheels, but it created a certain smell of carbon in the air, and it really was an interesting thing. Now, the walk-through rides didn't have the carbon smell, but it was replaced with a very, very distinct smell of urine, because some of the wise guy teenagers, they'd be going through in the dark channels, and they'd pee on the walls. And that would be fun for them because it's a fun house, so they pee on the walls, and you're walking through, and next thing you know, you're walking through a puddle or something, and you don't realize that you're walking through somebody's pee, that they just peed on the wall, and it's all on the floor in the dark ride. So, I mean, it's a fun house, right? It's fun. But some of these gadgets that were in there, they come out and they see the light of day, and of course, if I can get them, I get them because they have been shunned all their lives inside these chambers in the dark, and nobody cared to see them, and they would run away from them. I mean, it was kind of a lonely life. So here we have a few of them, and up here, there's a guillotine. You see? And it's a nice guillotine. As far as guillotines go, this is one of the nice ones. Look at the nice, you know, inlaid texture of the wood on the side there. I mean, even the blade, it's got a nice toned color to it. I mean, that's not really rust, but I mean, it could just as well be. So this particular guillotine came from Dr. Blood's. Dr. Blood was on Sportland Pier right here in North Wildwood. It was an iconic ride through dark ride, and it was, you know, quite an elaborate one. It had, you know, really beautiful scenes. Now the monuments you see there on either side, they're also from Dr. Blood, but they were not right there at the Guillotine. I put it there because of space requirements, because I don't have a big area to have my cemetery separate from the Guillotine, so I have them on either side of my Guillotine. But Dr. Blood's was really a really cool ride. You know, here's another thing from Dr. Blood's. This guy, you see, he's got his head already in the sack. They put the hood over your head so that you can't see. His hands are tied behind his back. His legs are bound. And he's being hung. He's got the noose around his neck. So he's already done when they tied his hands and they tied his legs. Now, there's nothing he can do about it. He can struggle. He can do a nice fine dance at rope's end, and they're going to hang him. And they drop him, and he hangs until he's dead. Now, hanging typically is a matter of suffocation because the rope will tighten around your neck and it will cut off your air supply. And it's asphyxiation. You're going to die because you can't breathe. So the dropping from a height so that the rope comes tight is to not only tighten it around your neck, but if you're lucky, I guess it snaps your neck. So then, you know, there's not a lot you can do about it. Now you're kind of like you're hanging there and you're going to die because you can't breathe and the weight is pulling down on you on your chest and you're done. But if you don't have your neck snapped, you're trying to kick and dance and whatever until you black out because you have no air. So I got my hangman here, I got my guillotine there. And they're up in the front because they tell a story. And it's funny, when I was first setting things up here, I had one of the commissioners in Wildwood complaining to me that people are complaining at City Hall about my guy hanging inside Woolworths and the guillotine. They're complaining at City Hall because I have a hangman hanging there. And I said to him, I says, let me get this straight. People are coming down the street, stopping, looking in my windows to complain about what I have hanging inside my building. Seems pretty simple. Tell them, don't look in my windows. You see? So I told him, I says, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a nice sign made, and I'm going to hang it right on the waist of the hangman, and it's going to say, I bought property in Wildwood. You see? Then they can have something to joke about and have fun with. So you can have your choice. You can either be hung, or you can go to the guillotine, but either one, it's just fun. I mean, really, who's going to City Hall to complain about the guy hanging from the ceiling? Did they complain about my bike? Probably not. You can't even see him too well. I mean, he's high. You'd really have to come over and stick your nose on there. People do it all the time. They stick their nose on my windows. He's got a hangman hanging there. Oh, my God. Oh, well. So this is Dr. Blood's. This is just the way it is. It's stuff around here. And there's other stuff too, like the gorilla up here in the cage. Now, he did not come from Dr. Blood's. Where did he come from? Well, he's a stunt. He's motorized, and you know, he'll move his arms, he'll kind of lunge at you a little bit and shake his head. And he's not really violent. I guess if you hit him with a strobe light, it could be a little bit scary. And he came from someplace I don't even know. It came from a collector that was out west somewheres. Might have been California, might have been Midwest, going out there. And I had bought some games, and he happened to have it. And again, I was paying for shipping to come with a big truck to go to California. So it didn't cost me that much more to add another piece, so I liked it, so I got it. So then I had to get it up in the air. It was too heavy to hang, so I had to build a little contraption so it stands on the floor with its weight, and there he is. People today are more into horror stuff than they ever were. There's places like Spirit Halloween and even Home Depot and Lowe's. All these stores now, they have a whole array of really, really elaborate, horrible animations that they have for Halloween, and they're pretty good today. But back in the day, this is what you had in the dark rides, and they all tell a story, and they're fun, and it's history. And you know what? I remember being scared going through that dark ride and watching the guy dangling from the rope and the head getting chopped off. It was a pretty good effect. So here they are. So we can talk about them and people can relive the old memories of the amusement park. And that's what we do. We talk about stuff. We talk about memories right here, the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. It's the Randy's Collection series. Next episode will be fun just like this one because they're all great stuff. Be sure to subscribe and press the notification button and we'll see you next time. Unless we put you on the guillotine. Bye, guys.